Marcus woke slowly, the edges of his vision fuzzy and a strange metallic scent filled his nose. His body ached all over, muscles stiff as if he had slept in a coffin for days. He blinked, trying to focus, and the harsh reality hit him. He wasn't on Earth. The walls around him were smooth, silver, and glowing faintly with panels that pulsed like the heartbeat of the building itself. He tried to move his arms, tested his legs, and found them surprisingly uninjured, despite the haze in his mind. The last thing he remembered was the battle. Explosions, alien fire, and the roar of his squad as they fought on a distant planet. Then everything had gone dark. Now he was awake in a room that looked more like a laboratory than a battlefield. He sat up cautiously, every movement deliberate. The floor was cold and metallic, and the air was breathable but had a faint sweetness to it, unlike anything he had ever smelled. Something moved in the corner of the room, and Marcus tensed immediately, reaching instinctively for a weapon that wasn't there. A small figure crouched in the shadows, barely moving. At first he thought it was a trap, a device meant to lure him into danger. But as his eyes adjusted to the dim light, he realized it was a creature, humanoid in shape, but distinctly alien. Her skin shimmered slightly, like a faint silver glow under her smooth surface, and her eyes were wide and reflective, almost like liquid mirrors. She was small, fragile-looking, yet there was an alertness in her gaze that told Marcus she was not helpless. Her hands were bound lightly with a metallic restraint that seemed advanced but non-lethal. Marcus knew better than to rush in blindly. He had seen enough traps and alien ambushes to recognize caution as survival. Slowly, he moved closer, hands raised to show no threat, his voice low and calm. "Hey, I'm not going to hurt you," he said. The alien girl flinched but didn't run. Instead, she studied him, tilting her head slightly as if weighing his words. She spoke in a series of soft clicks and hums, an alien language, but Marcus couldn't understand it. Yet somehow the emotion in her voice was clear, fear mixed with curiosity. Marcus scanned the room while keeping his attention on her. There were no weapons he could see, no obvious escape, but the faint hum of machines indicated this place was active. Someone or something was controlling the systems here. He took a cautious step forward. "I can help you," he said. "I know what it's like to be trapped." Her eyes widened again, this time with a flicker of hope. She didn't speak, but she didn't resist either. Marcus realized she was trying to communicate, maybe asking if he could be trusted. He approached slowly and reached to examine her restraints. They were sleek and alien-made, locking not with keys but with a faint energy field that seemed to pulse softly. Marcus had handled advanced tech before, enough to know he could figure out a way to free her, but he needed to be careful. A wrong move could trigger an alarm, or worse. He crouched down beside her, studying the mechanism. "Hold still, I won't hurt you." His hands worked quickly, adjusting his touch to avoid setting off any sensors. The hum of the room changed slightly as if the machines noticed him, and the girl's eyes widened in alarm. A faint click sounded, and the restraints deactivated. She rubbed her wrists cautiously, looking at Marcus as if she couldn't believe it. He gave her a small, reassuring nod. "You're free now, but we need to move." Her expression shifted from fear to trust, and she got to her feet, though unsteady at first. Marcus noticed she moved with quiet grace, muscles coiled for action. She was clearly trained to survive even if she was young and small. They moved cautiously through the corridors of the alien building. Marcus relied on his instincts, listening for footsteps, sensing pressure changes in the air and watching for cameras or sensors. The girl followed closely, her eyes darting around, alert to everything. As they turned a corner, a soft alarm sounded. Red lights flashed along the walls, casting sharp shadows. Marcus's heart rate quickened, but he didn't panic. He whispered to the girl, "We need to run, now." She didn't hesitate this time. Together they sprinted through the halls, Marcus leading, using his soldier training to anticipate the path ahead. The corridors were a labyrinth, but he could sense the layout, using instincts honed from years of combat. They came to a large chamber, where strange machines hummed and panels displayed alien symbols he didn't understand. He noticed a doorway on the far side, glowing faintly. "That's our way out," he said, motioning for the girl to follow. Suddenly, a group of alien drones appeared, moving swiftly and silently. Marcus didn't wait. He grabbed a loose metal pipe from the floor and swung it with precision, taking down one drone before it could react. The girl watched, wide-eyed but unafraid. Then, with surprising agility, she darted past him, knocking another drone off balance. Marcus realized that she wasn't just intelligent, she was capable, quick, and resourceful. Together they made an effective team, moving with synchronization neither had spoken about but instinctively understood. They reached the glowing doorway, and Marcus saw that it led to an open space above the alien city outside. The view took his breath away. Skyscrapers of strange metals, vehicles hovering in the distance, and the sky lit with two suns casting a golden hue. He helped the girl over the edge, then followed. They landed on a platform below, hidden in the shadows. Marcus allowed himself a brief moment to catch his breath. "You're fast," he said, trying to keep his tone light, though he was still on high alert. The girl looked at him and clicked softly, a sound that seemed almost like laughter. Then she pointed toward the city's perimeter, indicating they should keep moving. Marcus understood. She knew the city better than he did, and her knowledge would be invaluable. As they made their way through the streets, Marcus noticed something unusual. The citizens of the city seemed indifferent to their presence, going about their business without fear. It was as if the drones and guards were the real enforcers, and the people had learned to hide in plain sight. Marcus asked quietly, "Why are you here? Why were you trapped?" The girl hesitated, then spoke in clicks and hums again. Marcus couldn't understand the words, but he could see the meaning. She had been captured by a powerful alien warlord, forced into servitude not because she was weak, but because she was valuable. Her intelligence and skills made her a prize. Marcus's jaw tightened. He had fought many enemies, but the idea of someone being enslaved simply because of their abilities struck a chord with him. He had risked his life countless times for the sake of duty, but now he felt a personal mission forming. He wouldn't let this girl suffer. As night fell over the alien city, the pair found shelter in an abandoned warehouse. Marcus shared some basic food supplies he had carried, though limited, and watched the girl eat cautiously. She was wary but grateful. He sat back, thinking about their next steps. They couldn't stay here long. The warlord's forces would come searching, and they needed a plan. Marcus pulled out a small device he had found in the alien chamber earlier, a kind of universal scanner. He activated it, hoping it could help map their escape. The girl watched with fascination, and for the first time, Marcus saw a glimpse of vulnerability. She trusted him enough to stay close, to follow his lead, and he realized that trust was a rare reward in itself. "Tomorrow," he said softly, "we find a way out of this city. Together." She looked at him, clicking softly again, and Marcus felt a strange sense of partnership forming. Not master and servant, not prisoner and rescuer. Two beings, different yet united, fighting for freedom. As he drifted to sleep that night, Marcus reflected on the strangeness of his situation. He had been thrust into an alien world, faced enemies he didn't understand, and yet found an unexpected companion. The girl's presence was a reward he hadn't anticipated, not gold, not fame, not recognition, but something far more valuable: trust, courage, and the spark of friendship across species. The city outside remained silent, but Marcus knew the danger was far from over. Alarms could sound at any moment, drones could appear without warning, and the warlord, powerful, cruel, and intelligent, would not let his prized captive go easily. Yet Marcus didn't feel fear. He felt determination. He was a soldier, yes, but more than that, he was human. And humanity, he realized, was a weapon unlike any other, a weapon built from courage, empathy, and ingenuity. Together, he and the alien girl would face whatever came next. And somehow, Marcus knew that whatever reward awaited him at the end of this journey, it wasn't something he could have predicted. Not a trophy, not a title, but something far more important: a bond forged in survival, trust, and shared struggle. As the twin suns of the alien world sat behind towering skyscrapers, Marcus felt the weight of his mission settle on his shoulders. Tomorrow, they would make their move. But tonight, in the quiet shelter of an abandoned warehouse, he allowed himself a small moment of peace, knowing that the unexpected reward of the day, the alien girl at his side, was only the beginning of a larger adventure yet to come. Morning came slowly over the alien city, casting long shadows between towering buildings of strange, reflective metal. Marcus rose from his makeshift shelter, muscles stiff but ready. The alien girl was already awake, sitting silently and observing the streets below. Her eyes, silver and reflective, scanned every movement with sharp precision. Marcus admired her focus. She wasn't just an ally. She was someone who understood the stakes of their situation. "We can't stay here," Marcus said quietly. "We need to find a way out before the warlord's forces realize we're gone." The girl clicked softly, a sound he had come to recognize as agreement. She pointed toward the distant city perimeter where high walls and patrols marked the boundary. Marcus understood. They would have to navigate through the most dangerous part of the city to escape. He checked his equipment. Nothing fancy, just the basic survival tools he had scavenged from the chamber. But he had learned that human resourcefulness could turn even simple items into effective tools. The alien girl seemed to trust him completely, following his lead without hesitation. They moved quietly through the back alleys, staying in the shadows. Marcus kept his eyes on the patrols above, calculating the timing of their movements. The girl led him past security cameras and moving drones with silent gestures, showing him the safest paths. Despite her youth, her knowledge of the city was impressive. He realized she had spent years surviving in this environment, learning its rhythms and patterns. Suddenly, a patrol drone hovered close, its sensors scanning the area. Marcus froze, heart pounding. The girl pressed herself against the wall, motioning for him to do the same. The drone's light swept past them without noticing. Marcus exhaled slowly. "Good eyes," he whispered. The girl clicked softly, almost shyly, and he smiled. They made a good team, combining human intuition with alien agility. Hours passed as they navigated the labyrinthine streets. They avoided main roads, moved through empty marketplaces, and ducked into abandoned buildings when necessary. Marcus noticed something strange. The city, though advanced, seemed quiet in comparison to the warlord's chambers. Perhaps the citizens were cautious, keeping their heads down under fear of the ruling power. But there was life here, and it reminded Marcus that not all beings in this world were enemies. As evening approached, they reached a massive plaza dominated by a central tower. Marcus realized that the warlord must be stationed there. The girl clicked softly and pointed to a service entrance at the base of the tower. She seemed to be suggesting a way to disable the warlord's surveillance before attempting to escape the city. Marcus nodded. It was risky, but it was their best chance. They slipped inside the service entrance, finding a network of corridors and maintenance rooms. The hum of machinery was louder here, and strange devices lined the walls. Marcus examined the panels, recognizing a few patterns from human technology. He wasn't fluent in alien systems, but he knew enough to improvise. The girl moved beside him, her hands skimming over controls, pointing out sequences that might trigger alarms. Together, they disabled several security nodes, clearing a path toward the exit. Marcus marveled at her intelligence. She wasn't just following instructions, she was analyzing, predicting, and solving problems with precision. Finally, they reached a high platform overlooking the city walls. Marcus scanned the perimeter. Guards moved in predictable patterns, drones floated overhead, and automated turrets tracked motion. The escape would require timing, strategy, and a little luck. He turned to the girl. "Ready?" She clicked softly, nodding. Marcus felt a surge of confidence. They had made it this far together, relying on each other's strengths. Using crates and debris as cover, they advanced slowly along the platform. The turret's motion sensors swept past without detecting them. Marcus held his breath each time a drone hovered near, but the girl's guidance kept them safe. Her knowledge of angles, shadows, and timing proved invaluable. When they reached the wall's edge, Marcus assessed the drop. It was high but manageable. He helped the girl first, ensuring she landed safely on the ground below. Then he followed, rolling upon impact to absorb the shock. They were outside the warlord's direct control, but the city was still dangerous. Marcus and the girl sprinted toward a distant cluster of trees on the city outskirts. The natural landscape was a sharp contrast to the metallic cityscape, and Marcus felt a strange relief at seeing the green of alien plants swaying under the twin suns. He realized the city's perimeter was more than walls. It was a threshold between controlled order and wild freedom. As they reached the forest edge, a patrol drone suddenly appeared, its sensors locking onto them. Marcus didn't hesitate. He grabbed a fallen branch, swinging it to disrupt the drone's sensors. Sparks flew and the drone staggered, buying them precious seconds. The girl reacted instantly, hurling a small metallic tool she had picked up. The drone crashed into the ground, disabled. They didn't stop running until the city lights faded behind them. Marcus slowed, panting, and glanced at the girl. Her silver eyes reflected exhaustion but also exhilaration. They had survived and they were free for now. They found a small clearing and decided to rest. Marcus shared what little food he had left and the girl ate slowly, still cautious but trusting him completely. He realized that the reward he had found wasn't gold, treasures, or medals. It was something far greater, the bond formed through shared struggle, the mutual respect that grew from fighting together, and the spark of friendship that crossed the boundary of species. Marcus spoke softly. "You're safe now. No one can make you a prisoner again, not while I'm here." The girl clicked, a sound Marcus interpreted as gratitude. She leaned slightly toward him, not in fear or dependence, but as a companion, an equal partner in their fight. The night passed with quiet vigilance. Marcus kept watch, knowing that the warlord would eventually realize his captive was missing, but for the first time in days, he allowed himself to relax slightly. The girl's presence was comforting, not because she was a reward, but because she was someone who had chosen to trust him. Morning came again, and Marcus planned their next move. They couldn't stay near the city forever. The forest offered temporary safety, but they needed a long-term plan. The girl clicked and pointed to the horizon toward distant mountains. Marcus understood. They would journey there, away from the warlord's reach, toward freedom and safety. They traveled together, moving cautiously through the alien wilderness. Marcus relied on his soldier skills to navigate, hunt, and avoid dangers, while the girl used her knowledge of local terrain, alien flora, and wildlife to guide them. They learned from each other, combining human ingenuity with alien instinct. Days passed. They encountered wild creatures, navigated rough terrain, and overcame natural obstacles. Marcus admired the girl's adaptability, her courage in the face of danger, and her quick thinking. She was not a prize or a possession. She was a partner, strong and capable. One evening, they reached a plateau overlooking a valley bathed in golden light. Marcus stopped, taking in the view. "We've made it this far," he said. The girl clicked softly, as if agreeing. But Marcus knew their journey was far from over. The warlord's reach might extend even here, and the future was uncertain, yet Marcus felt hope. They had faced impossible odds, navigated an alien city, and escaped a powerful enemy, and through it all, they had forged a bond that transcended species, fear, and circumstance. That bond was their true reward, a reminder of what humanity could achieve, not through strength alone, but through courage, compassion, and the ability to inspire trust and loyalty. As night fell over the valley, Marcus and the girl set up a small camp. Marcus kept watch, then lay back, allowing himself a moment of reflection. The girl watched the stars, her silver eyes reflecting light like tiny mirrors. Marcus realized that the reward of waking up in a strange world had not been what he expected. It had been far greater: trust, partnership, and the promise of shared adventures yet to come. In the quiet of the alien night, Marcus felt a deep sense of purpose. He had found something no battle could give, no medal could measure, and no enemy could take away: a bond formed in the fire of survival, a reminder of humanity's greatest strength, and the promise of freedom for those who deserved it. They were free, together, and the journey ahead, though uncertain, was theirs to face as equals. The unexpected reward Marcus had found was not the girl as a possession, but the beginning of a partnership built on respect, courage, and trust, a reward far more valuable than he could have imagined.